What is up, McManus MMA fam? We are going to be going over my recap and my immediate reactions to UFC 323 Merab versus Peter Yan. Bro, what a spectacular performance Peter Yan put on. I was counting him out. I think everybody else was counting him out. Look at these stats, man. I know Merab landed more strikes and just a little less significant strikes, but look at the takedown defense that Peter Yan put on. You guys got to watch this. This was one of the most spectacular bantamweight bouts I've ever seen in my life. Merab was putting his own. Those liver shots that Peter Yan was hitting were hurting so bad on Merab. That you could tell. He literally screamed, I think, 2 or 3 times when he would take some of these shots. They were rough. And Peter Yan, I've never seen Peter Yan look better than this fight. I was counting him out. I said, when's the last time you saw Peter Yan put on such a performance like that? I'm sorry, bro. And new. I'm not even mad. As much of a Merab fan that I am, this was like a spectacular bout. Like I could not believe my eyes. I know most of the judges gave a lot of those rounds to Yan. There were a couple of them that were really close, but I can understand. I understand that most of those went to the Yan. But yeah, his takedown defense was absolutely spectacular. He took Merab down 3 times, 2 of which were absolute dumps. He dumped Merab on his head. It was insane. It was an absolutely spectacular fight. I could not believe it. I was expecting Merab to absolutely dominate, but once I saw that we got to round 3 and he still couldn't take Yan down like fully, I was like, oh man, this is not looking good. I thought that Yan would kind of wear out, but he conditioned hard because he was able to keep up and push the pace on Merab. I've never seen Merab look human like this, where he's hurt, he's bleeding, and he's tired. As much as Merab is the bantamweight goat of the modern era, but he got the pace pushed on him hard by Yan, and I'm all for it, man. Listen, not a Yan Glazer. I'm a Merab Glazer, but I understand this fully. This was a absolutely spectacular bout, one of the greatest bantamweight fights I've seen, the best I've ever seen Yan ever, and the most human Merab's ever looked ever. So this was an absolutely spectacular main event. This was astonishing. But I gotta say, the co-main event was my most anticipated fight on this card, and it came to a really sad conclusion. 26 seconds in the first round. Pantoja kicks Joshua Van, and Joshua grabs his leg and pushes him back, and Pantoja falls with his arm really weird, and it breaks or dislocated. It popped out. Something, I don't even know how it was still in the skin. It was bad. So I feel really terrible because all this is not good either way. As much as I am like ecstatic that Joshua Van is the champion, the flyweight champion right now, this discredits his win. This discredits all of that. All this says to me is like this doesn't matter. This doesn't count. Everybody's gonna count this out. This is a bullshit win. This doesn't count, which doesn't do any good. That's disappointing for me. That makes me upset as the #1 Joshua Van Glazer of all time. So I'm really upset about that. I'm happy that Joshua Van is champion. That was a circumstance that he couldn't foresee. That was just like an unforeseen circumstance that happened. And this did kind of fuck my parlay up. I had Joshua Van winning and over 50 significant strikes, but as you can see, only 2 strikes were even landed. So, excuse me, I'm drinking my last beer of the night. This was really sad. This was really sad to see. I felt really bad for Pantoja. I hope that he has a really quick recovery and we're able to get a rematch booked. I think in the meantime we do Van and Tyra, because Tyra didn't take a lot of damage and neither did Joshua Van took no damage. Let's be real here. So I think we can have a quick turnaround. Joshua Van Alessandro Pantoja fight. Or I'm sorry, Joshua Van Tatsuro Tyra fight. But I really hope Pantoja has a quick recovery because this was really sad to see. I love Pantoja as champion. But this was a really sad conclusion for this fight that I had so much hype for. This was going to be the greatest fight I'd ever seen in my life, and it was shaping up to be that. This is not a circumstance where it's Cyril Gahn versus Tom Aspinall, where something purposeful like a double eye poke finger happens. But this is just an unforeseen, terrible, terrible thing to happen. And I'm really sad about it. I hope that we can get this fight rebooked when Pantoja's back. Because I do want to see that fight. That it was shaping up to be great. We never got to see Joshua Van's takedown defense against Pantoja, but Pantoja was putting the pressure on Joshua Van just when he gets a little bit of pressure on, Pantoja's arm breaks. So I'm really sad about this, but I'm really happy that Joshua Van is champion. But obviously this is going to discredit that a lot. I'm bummed about that. I fucking love Joshua Van. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. But yeah, I gotta move on. Brandon Moreno versus Tatsuro Taira. First round, Brandon Moreno gets Taira in like a leg triangle the majority of the round. Arguably, large majority. Tyra was landing some body shots, but second round, Tyra takes his back, and I said once Tyra takes his back, he's going to submit him. But he gets Moreno laying flat on the stomach and just starts landing some pitter-patter strikes on his head, and they call the fight. I was astonished. The reffing earlier, we'll get to those fights, but people were taking shots and were like unconscious, and they were like, let's watch it through. Let's let it go through. But they called this one so early. I know that he wasn't really defending and he wasn't really moving, but those strikes didn't look like they were really doing much damage to Moreno. And I do feel bad for Moreno. I love Moreno, but I was rooting for, I'm so happy, thank you! So I'm obviously excited that I'm so happy, thank you won. I love Tatsuro Taira, and I'm looking forward to him fighting Joshua Van. I think that's going to be a spectacular fight. But yeah, I mean, this is I don't want to say disappointing, but I would have liked to see the fight pick up pace more. Maybe I just didn't watch it close enough, and Brandon Moreno was unconscious, but from what I saw, it looked like that Moreno was not unconscious at all and was totally fine, just like these were pitter-patter strikes. So, I don't know, man. This is an interesting one. This is kind of hard to judge. But yeah, Tyra took his back pretty easily in that second round once he finally got the advantage on the feet. And, I mean, Tyra looked great. Tyra looked really great. And Moreno was looking good. Not as good as Tyra. Tyra got that easy takedown on him in the second round and just concluded the fight. So, not much I can say there. What I can say is, what a fight this was. What a prediction. By the way, my predictions were damn near on par besides Merab. There's a couple of decisions I missed, but this one I predicted perfectly. Peyton Talbot got close to knocking Henry Cejudo's ass out. He would wobble him and put him down a couple times, but he just masterclassed Cejudo. He took Cejudo down. Everybody was saying, like, no, dude, he can't take Cejudo down. He was taking Cejudo down. He did the fucking tongue thing. Blah! He took Cejudo down. And he did that. Yeah, Peyton Talbot masterclass, bro. Talbot by masterclass. Talbot by masterclass. Peyton Talbot put on an absolute masterclass performance. This was a spectacular fight. I had my friends who had never really watched UFC, and they were like, holy shit, what a fight, man. What a fight. And what a fight it was. You know, Triple C retires for the second time. Let's see him back in 6 months when the money runs out again. But listen, I don't like Henry Cejudo, but, you know, he put on a great fight. That was an excellent fight. He was hitting Talbot with some crazy shots, but Talbot didn't look like he was wearing them at all. Maybe he's just that good, bro. But the pole dancing has been helping Talbot because he was able to just scramble like a motherfucker. I was saying this in my prediction video that his scramble is ridiculous. He can scramble like crazy, but this showed everybody. I hope this showed everybody that his scramble is crazy, man. He's got a crazy scramble. I'd like to see him fight a little bit higher up on the ranks next, maybe. I don't know who I would give him to. Bantamweight. Maybe the loser of... No, I don't even know if I want to say the loser of Song Yadong versus O'Malley. I don't know. The loser of Song Yadong, Malley, or the loser of Umar and Figgy. If it's Umar, I think Umar beats Talbot. I think O'Malley beats Talbot. I think arguably Song Yadong beats Talbot. But I want to see him fight higher up in the ranks. Maybe a primary striker just so we can see his striking on display. Moving on to the first fight of the main card. Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov. What a fight this was, too. Listen, I had Blachowicz winning this fight by split decision. I thought that the submission attempt and the more total, the round 3 and round 1 won him the fight. I thought he won round 1, arguably 10-9 with the leg kicks. Round 2, he lost 10-8. 100% he lost 10-8. He got knocked down, and he was just on the ground, and Guskov was just laying into him. And it was rough to watch because I love Blachowicz. And then the third round, he put the pressure on. They were trading shots like crazy, and then the very last 10 seconds, he puts Guskov down. And I thought that won him the fight. I thought that arguably won him the fight, but the judges disagree, and this was a draw, which sucks. This sucks, man. This really sucks. I thought Jan Blachowicz won this by split decision. Maybe you disagree. If you disagree, let me know your thoughts in the comments, but I disagree. I think that this was a Blachowicz split decision, which I thought Guskov fought a lot better than I thought he was going to fight. And I got to give it to both of them. They both fought an absolutely incredible fight. This was a spectacular fight. Honestly, a spectacular main card besides the featured fight and the co-main. I mean, you can argue the featured fight was awesome, but the co-main was a very big disappointment and letdown, even though, you know, the decision came out in my favor. I love Joshua Van, but yeah, this was sad. Moving on to the prelims. Dude, everybody was counting me up. I said, Manuel Torres by knockout. Manuel Torres by knockout. First round. Grant Dawson looked good. Grant Dawson was favored. He was looking good. and Manuel Torres just gets him in this combination because Grant Dawson kept throwing these ducking overhands, and Torres just finds it. He hits him twice when he's got his head ducked, right when he's bringing his chin up. He just left uppercut puts him out, and then Anthony Smith turtles up immediately, and that was it. I don't think that was early stoppage. The turtle up, I called this. This was a McManus MMA, insane observation hockey call, bro. This was ridiculous. I called this. Everybody that I was with was like, that's not going to happen. No way. I don't believe you. But it happened. Great performance by Torres. He took some heavy shots, but dude, let's go, bro. Let's go. I picked this one. One that I was really sad to see. Bro, what a war this was for the 2.5 minutes that it was. Terrence McKinney versus Chris Duncan. Fight starts off. Terrence McKinney looks great. He putting the pressure on Chris Duncan, hits him with a nice knee up the middle, lands a couple shots, and puts him on Bambi legs and wobbles him bad. Starts putting the pressure on, and then Chris Duncan just gets this elbow that puts Terrence McKinney down. And once he goes down, he didn't want any part of this fight. The judges didn't call this. They let this kept going. And he gets up, and he gets hit again, and he goes down. He was out of the fight at that point. And Chris Duncan just locks up a choke behind him, and Terrence McKinney just didn't want to participate anymore. He was out for the count. I was bummed. I thought Terrence McKinney was going to knock him out. It looked like he was. It really looked like it was, and Chris Duncan came back. So good on him, man. This was a awesome fight for 2.5 minutes. Macy Barber versus. I thought this would be a split decision win. I didn't think this was. I thought this was way closer than everybody else did. I guess I just wasn't watching that close, but I'm looking at the stats now for the significant strikes and the total strikes, but I thought this was a lot closer than I thought. I thought that Silva did a really good job round one, putting the pressure on the ground, and then Barber was able to get up and kind of put pressure on the ground when Silva was on the ground. So I thought this was a closer fight. I predicted Barber by decision. Guys, my absolute telepathy with predicting chick fights going to decision is absolutely spectacular. But, excuse me. But, yeah, man, I don't know. I thought this fight was a lot closer than it was, and I don't have much more to say. Bro, Nazem Sadikov versus Fares Ziam. This was a great fight. Round one, I was like, oh, man, Ziam looked great on the ground. But Sadikov looked calm. He looked really, really calm and collected. And he just wasn't putting out the output that I'm used to him putting out. Look at these stats, bro. He wasn't doing much, man. He really wasn't doing much. And the very you can see very end of that second round, he gets put down and he's getting up. Arguably, he could still stand, but I don't know. So I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I can agree with this. This was he got put down, but I thought that the fight could have kept going just a little bit longer. Maybe going into the third round, seeing Ziam knock him out in the third round. But Ziam looked great. Sadikov just didn't look like the guy that I was used to seeing. This was a prediction I missed. Sorry, guys. I let you guys down. If you placed your parlay like I did, you lost. Sorry, pal. Moving on to the early prelims, which were generational. Generational, bro. Marvin Vettori did not look very good in this fight. I hate to say it. Bruno Ferreira was putting the pressure on him. I know looking at this, you're like, how did Bruno Ferreira win? Marvin Vettori was just kind of pitter-patter striking him. I don't know how a lot of these were significant. Bruno Ferreira did get hit a couple times where I was like, damn, he's getting hit hard. But Bruno Ferreira was... I don't know how Marvin Vettori is standing. I got to give my credit to where credit is due. Marvin Vettori's chin is ridiculous, bro. He was taking shots like I've never seen before and was just like, bro, I don't care. Bro, I don't care. So I don't know, man. I don't know. A decision. I thought Bruno Ferreira was going to knock Marvin Vettori out, and he was landing strikes that I thought were going to knock him out, but he just didn't give a shit, dude. He just didn't give a shit. I don't have much more to say. Moving on. Edson Barbosa, Jalen Turner. I had Jalen Turner winning this by knockout, and he did. This was sad, man. This was really sad. He got hit hard. Barbosa landed, I think it was a right hand, really hard on him. But Barbosa gets hit with this elbow right in the top of his head, and it slices him open so bad. There was so much blood, and he had so much heart, man. He had so much. I love Barbosa, but I think it's time for him to retire, bro. I was expecting him to put the gloves down. I saw him walking away in the background. I was like, what the hell? What the hell? Why is he still here? But he had so much heart standing. I'm continuing to fight, but He just couldn't do it, bro. And the ref called this for good reason. He could barely stand. Only standing on his willpower, bro. So I don't know, man. I got to give it to Barboza. Good heart, but Jalen Turner beat the shit out of him. He really beat the shit out of him. Dude, the minute and a half that this fight lasted, this was one of the most incredible fights I've ever seen. This was very beginning of this card. Ibo Aislan, listen, shout out to the guy in my comment section on the prediction video saying that Ibo Aislan was going to win with Turkish power. I was all for it too, honestly. After that, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm counting Ibo Aislan out. Dude, holy shit. Ibo Aislan lands a crazy strike in the beginning of this fight, puts Iwo down, and then Iwo comes back. They don't call the fight. Iwo comes back and knocks him down, knocks Ibo out, and Ibo gets back up. I'm like, oh my god. And then Ibo gets knocked down again. He gets knocked flat on his ass, and then I was like, oh, that's it. That's it. This was an insane scrap. These two dudes fought like hell, had unleashed. This was ridiculous, man. Holy shit. What an incredible fight. Do yourself a favor. Find this online. Watch this fight, dude. This was ridiculous. This is going to be on the UFC compilation of, must-see rounds, must-see rounds. This was crazy, man. This was crazy. This was when my parlay was sold. I was like, you know what? I'm putting my parlay on Ibo Aislan. My parlay was sold here. I'm not even mad about it. I lost my $1 parlay. I was like, you know what, dude? Honestly, fuck it. That was awesome. I was standing up during an early prelim. I was like, this is ridiculous. It was absolutely incredible, man. What a fight this was. Arguably one of the best. This is top 3 fights of the night. Is anybody surprised by this? Mansour Abdul Malik takes down Tricoli and just chokes him out. Yeah, that's what happened. I don't think anybody's surprised by this. Walking in, everybody's like, bro, I don't know. Tricoli's plus 500, bro. Could happen. I mean, it happened to fucking Peter Yan, but not Tricoli, bro. Mansour Abdul Malik just, I don't know. It was murder, bro. It was murder. It was bad. Smoked him and then just took him down, and that was the fight. That was it. That was it. I don't know what else to say, man. That was bad. And then this, bro, to start the night off, I had Santos winning, and Naimov looked good, man. Naimov looked good in that first round, and there's a lot in the second, and then right in the beginning of the third round, just puts him down. I think it was a left hand that put him down. Oh man, it was dirty, just flattened him out. Yeah, it was a great win for Santos. A great win. I'm not gonna make predictions, but yeah, man, that's got to do it for me. Honestly, this was a generational card. In all honesty, this was an absolutely incredible card. I'll be ranking every single main event card this week throughout the year. This year's main event cards not of all time. That would be a 4-hour video, but yeah, man. Besides the terrible happening to Pantoja, and Charles Oliveira was in the building and they didn't show him. They were showing everybody else. They're like, bro, David Onama's here. Who gives a fuck if David Onama's there, bro? Charles Oliveira's in the fucking building. They did a nice video for Volk. They're like, Volk's fighting, guys. Yeah, I love Volk. I got excited. They showed Diego. Bullshit fight. That shouldn't be happening. But they didn't show fucking Charles Oliveira. He was there. I saw him the whole time. I saw my handsome prince, Charles Oliveira, but they wouldn't show him. So for that reason, bullshit. All right, guys. Peace.